Hi guys, Kevin here. For dinner tonight, we're having a cheese souffle that I'll serve alongside some lightly dressed spinach greens and a bottle of crisp white wine. Now, a cheese souffle is actually very easy to make. And what you'll start with is a white sauce. And for this, you'll need 1.5 cups of whole milk, and you will need 3.5 tablespoons of plain old cornstarch. My souffle is going to be gluten-free because I'm using cornstarch. And what you do is tip about 1/4 cup of the milk into the cornstarch mixture. I better put this down. And stir with a fork or a little whisk just to make a smooth paste. And then you want to heat the remaining milk, and I'm going to put this in the microwave for exactly 3 minutes, and I'll come right back. Okay, my milk is nice and hot, so I'm going to pour it into a saucepan over medium heat. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm using softened butter just to speed things up a bit. And then we can whisk the butter into the milk until it melts, which it will do right away. Butter is melted. So then we need to thicken up this sauce. It has to be a thick white sauce. So we add the cornstarch solution. And then we bring this to a boil, and the sauce will thicken up immediately. Look at that. Already nice and thick. So I'm going to take it off the heat. And then I'm going to stir in some seasonings. And you can use all kinds of different seasonings. I'm going to use about a teaspoon or so of good old Grey Poupon Dijon mustard and a bit of nutmeg. And I have my nifty little nutmeg grater here. You could, of course, use already ground nutmeg. You don't need a lot of nutmeg, just enough to give the sauce a little hint of nutmeg fragrance. Also going to add some salt. It's about a 1/2 teaspoon, and some grinds of black pepper. I like plenty of pepper in my white sauce because pepper goes very well with the Swiss cheese that we're adding to the souffle. And then, speaking of Swiss cheese, we can throw that in too. And this is 6 ounces of shredded Swiss cheese. I'm going to stir this just until it melts. We are good to go. I told you a souffle was easy to make. And of course, a souffle uses egg whites to give it its terrific puff. So what we need are 6 large eggs, and I actually warmed my eggs a little bit in some hot tap water so that the egg white would release very easily. And we can't have any yolk in the egg white, so this is what I do. Crack the egg and let the white go into a little bowl or a little custard cup in this case. And you just rock the egg yolk back and forth between the shells. There, until all of the white is released. And I'm going to put the yolk in one bowl, and I'm going to pour the white into a mixing bowl. And I'll finish separating my eggs and come right back. So I have 6 egg whites in the mixing bowl and 6 egg yolks in this little bowl. And let me grab my white sauce, and then in go the eggs, 1 or 2 at a time, and just rapidly beat them into the white sauce. And the reason we started out with such a thick white sauce is because the egg yolks are going to thin it out a bit. And this is actually fun to do because it's really good exercise. Oop. Here we go, and we've got all 6 yolks in our white sauce, which in French would be called a bechamel. Although since we added cheese, that bechamel has now turned into an egg yolky sauce mornay. And that's it. We can put the white sauce aside for a moment. And then let me show you some soufflé dishes. It's important to use a dish that is round and has straight sides, or at least fairly straight sides. And you can find a soufflé dish like this at any kitchen supply store. And you can even find it in supermarkets sometimes. Mine has them. And this is a 2-quart soufflé dish. This is also a 2-quart dish. It's a charlotte mold, and I'm going to use this today. So we need to butter it really well, the bottom and the sides. I'm trying to do this video in real time so that you can see that a soufflé goes very quickly and that it is not at all complicated. You want to use plenty of butter, up to 2 tablespoons really, so that the soufflé won't stick. And there we go. Let me wipe my hand off, my butter fingers, and then take some finely grated Parmesan cheese, about 2 tablespoons or so, throw that into the soufflé dish, and then spin the dish around so that you coat the butter with the Parmesan cheese. And this will give the soufflé a really nice crust. There we go. Next up, we have to beat the egg whites. So let me get my mixer ready and I'll come back. I started my egg whites out at medium-low speed, and I'm just waiting for them to foam, which they seem to be doing right now. So at this point, add a generous 1/4 teaspoon of, let me show it to you, cream of tartar. And you can buy cream of tartar in any supermarket. It's in the spice aisle. Cream of tartar is an acid, and it helps to stabilize the whites. And I'm going to increase the speed to high, and then I'll come back when my egg whites are fully risen. Okay, let's have a look at this. So the egg whites, don't beat them until they get stiff peaks, because then the whites will be, it will be very difficult to fold stiffly beaten egg whites into the white sauce. And I can tell that this is perfectly beaten because I can scoop some onto a spatula, turn the spatula upside down and the whites do not fall off. But on the other hand, the whites are not overly beaten. So off this goes. And then grab our white sauce. Get rid of me whisk. And we're going to fold, or rather stir, about 1/4 of the whites into the bechamel or white sauce, just to lighten it. This way it will fold more easily into the other egg whites. And you just do this roughly and very quickly. There we go. We're light enough. And then move this over here so you can see what I'm doing. You take your bowl of egg whites and move some aside to make room for the white sauce. And you pour the white sauce into the little opening you've just made. We want to get all of that in here. It smells good. I can smell that winey Dijon mustard. And then we fold the bechamel and the whites together. And to do that, let's go straight down with your spatula and bring up whatever is on the bottom of the bowl up to the top. And it's always better to fold too little than to fold too much, because the goal here is to mix the ingredients but not to overly deflate the egg whites, because remember, the whites are going to really puff up when they hit the hot oven. And mine is, I think, ready. So now we grab our soufflé dish, and I'll give this one more little stir. And we tip the soufflé into the dish. Put this away. And we want to smooth out the top a little. And then we use the spatula to make a little ring in the center. And this is in hopes that this little indentation or outline I've made will cause the soufflé to rise especially high in the center. Sometimes that technique works, sometimes it doesn't. And I forgot to tell you that I have preheated my oven to 375 degrees. This is going into the oven right now for 40 minutes, and I'll come back when it's ready. And here's the soufflé. It's still in the oven. It's got about 8 minutes remaining, but look how much it has puffed. I can't wait to taste it. And here's my salad. It's baby spinach leaves that I dressed with olive oil and lemon juice and just some salt and pepper. Very simple. And here's my wine. It's a dry Sauvignon Blanc. I'll come back when the soufflé is ready. And here's our soufflé. As you can see, it puffed to the heavens. And that's only because of the beaten egg whites. So I need to rush this into the dining room where Mr. Fox is waiting. And I can't cut into it to taste it for you right now because then it will deflate. And that reminds me, right after you bring your soufflé out of the oven, rush it to the table and it will deflate within 5 minutes. It will still be delicious, but for the most dramatic effect, you want to serve it when it's puffed up here. And I hope you've seen how easy a soufflé is to make, and I hope you'll make one tonight. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.